Okay, we're recording. Welcome to Nervous Rex. We got Frank Stacks, who's been on the show, and we got Madness, another battle rapper who's from Florida. And actually, I discovered Madness and Frank Stacks around the same time, probably, god damn, what, 15 years ago or some shit?
Gotta be that long ago. Yeah,
12, something like that.
Because you were doing the battle rap back before I discovered Frank. I think I discovered Madness. You were doing what was the league? 1 minute.
It was a WRCs. It was like 2007, I think. Yeah, 07. That's right.
Dude, that was the era. That's when me and Andre Legacy and Andy Melanakis would just sit around, or Alchemist, and we just kind of were like, it was like our soap opera. We would just sit around and watch you guys, and we got obsessed with it. And then you did that. That was actually it was like I don't know how long it took, but you guys were just doing back-to-back rap battles, and then by the end, you guys were just freestyling, and it made no sense, and it was the best.
It was all freestyle. It was 10 battles in one day, man. We were dying.
Dude, it was dying. The best. So if you're listening, go check out WRC and type in Critical and Madness versus anybody on YouTube, and you'll be thoroughly entertained. And obviously, Frank Stacks still goes down as one of my favorite battle rappers of all time. What's been new, Madness? What's popping out there in Florida? How's the protests and shit? Are you active?
Yeah, man, the protests are going off pretty well. It's mostly the peaceful ones. It's not like the ones that are going to make the news, really. But, you know, people getting tear gas because they're out past curfew. That's about as wild as it's getting. But people are really, like, pushing for a change. It's a pretty large protest, too, which I imagine is everywhere. Where you're at, there 4 times the size, I'm sure.
Yeah, I went to a 20,000 person one that YG put together yesterday, and it was wild. It was my first time I've ever protest. I'm not really that dude to get into politics that much, but this is like what's going on now is past politics. It's more like morals. And my lady's super active, and she's all about it. So she's like, "Let's go." We've been sitting out in the desert because it's been so violent, and I was like, not feeling safe about it. The cops are fucking people up, and finally now it's like peaceful. I'm like, all right, now let's go check it out. It was cool, man. It was cool to be a part of it.
As somebody who's been fucked up by the police before, I was like, I'm good. Let's go. I went solo. I was like, whatever.
What can you tell us? What happened when you getting fucked up by the police? Did they butt fuck you or?
Nah, they just beat me with the batons, man.
Really?
When I was like 21, yeah, for like talking shit.
So yeah, you're a real boy. I remember, you know how I knew Madness was a real boy is when we were watching Disaster Battle and the fight broke out, and me and you just stood against the wall as everyone freaked out and ran out of the building, and you and me were looked at each other, we're like, I ain't going nowhere. Because it was so entertaining, and we were up against the wall, and we were just watching the chaos. And I was like, it was funny to see.
I remember
Legacy ran out of there like a little bitch.
I remember specific because I mean, once you've been through a bunch of them, you know the mechanics of it, right? And like I could tell when he started fumbling his words. I don't know if I said it to you or whoever was standing next to me. I'm like, yo, he's gonna hit him, like way before he did.
I think you did tell me that. You could feel it. It's almost like you could feel it in the air. Like when a fight's about to pop off, if you've been around that shit enough times, you could feel it in the air. And that was a little ass room in Hollywood, and it was just like it was heated. And yeah, so we watched the famous Disaster Punch. Who was it? Math Hoffa?
It was Math Hoffa, yeah.
Who, if for listeners, Math Hoffa has been known for punching people in a battle rap, which is sort of like, battle rappers get in each other's face, they diss each other's mother, they cross the line. And Math Hoffa has been known to punch people, so Disaster punched him, and it was just like, full fight broke out. And that was that. I felt like I was part of history on that one. That was cool. Frank, were you at that, Frank?
I didn't know you guys went to that. That's crazy.
We were there.
I wasn't there.
Yeah, I think I randomly happened to be in LA for something else, and I went to it.
Yeah, dude, that was history. Well, fucking all right. Well, let's switch gears because let's talk about obviously what's going on in the world's crazy right now. But on top of that, how do you guys feel about conspiracy theories, and can we talk about them?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, they're all.
I feel great about them.
They're all fake.
Okay, good point. Now, are they all fake? Because here's my argument to that is that I think 94% are fake, and that's the problem, that if conspiracy theorists think one thing might be real, then everything else is part of that.
Okay, let me clarify on what I mean by they're all fake. Everything's fake until it's proven real publicly. So there might be a couple
100%.
things that I believe in. Like I might believe, like I might believe in aliens to a certain extent, or a butt fuck Bigfoot or something like that, right? But it's still a conspiracy. It's still fake until it's real.
Right.
So even though I might believe
anything
it,
proven by science is the same, right?
Thank you.
It's like it all sounds crazy until like it's actually proven. Like, oh, Pluto's a planet, Pluto's not a planet, things like that. It's like, well, now science shows this. Like the stuff that we grew up on, like half of that shit ain't even real. All those like phrases you learned as a kid, it's like none of it's even scientifically proven anymore.
Right.
But I agree with Frank. Like my biggest point is you're never gonna fucking know. So like, what's the
exactly. What's the fucking point?
Well, that's a good point too. I just had this comedian on named Mark Norman, who's my favorite comic. You guys should check him out. He's got a podcast called Tuesdays with Stories, and it's just really offensive and racist and dirty, but it's lighthearted. It's not really racist. They just say very offensive, misogynistic things that are like, whoa, but they're doing it lightheartedly. It's funny. Now that I said that, I'm going to get killed. But he said to me, I'm like, how do you feel about conspiracy theorists? He goes, I just sit back and watch the show and laugh. And then I'm like, okay, what are we having for dinner? Because who cares? I was like, fuck, right. I wish I could be like that. I get worked up about it. I get so mad when some of my friends really believe this shit, because as you get older, you only have a few friends. You know, when you're in your 20s, you got 30 friends. When you're in your 30s, you got 15 friends. I'm 45. You got like 7 friends left in your circle, and half of them are believing this shit. You're like,
dwindling.
Dude, and now it's starting to affect my friendships, because I'm looking at some of my friends like, are you really that dumb?
Dude, I got a couple that I haven't even talked to about this kind of shit yet that I'm already like, it could go that way.
Yeah. What about you, Frank?
I mean, I got a few people that I'm consistently trying to talk them off of the conspiracy ledge. And it's like, it's pretty much a lost cause, because the thing with these conspiracies now is it's not so much of, oh, I think that this happened. It's like, it's their religion.
Right.
It's like, I'm trying to tell them Jesus never existed, or if he did, he wasn't God, or, it's like, they're like, no, they believe it so much that, like, I'm trying to tell these fools, I'm like, you got to realize you're going to carry this to your grave, whether it comes to fruition or not. Right? Like all the QAnon shit, everything's like, bro, whether it happens next week or in 100 years or never, you're going to die believing this shit. You're going to teach your kids this shit. Like,
well, here's my thing. A lot of times is people are like, yo, something bad's going to happen. It's like, all you got to do is say that. And then if it ever happens, then you could be like, I said that 9.5 years ago.
Thank you. I couldn't agree more. And wait, going backwards though, Frank, didn't you tell me you recently like convinced somebody who was a conspiracy theorist? You don't have to say who, but didn't you bring somebody back to reality?
Yeah, like I was talking to somebody and then they started like direct messaging me, and I basically told them I could debunk anything you want to throw at me. Like, I got a couple hours to spare, and because the dude was just going off the fucking deep end. And it's one thing to believe that shit internally, but when you want to like try to convince other people to believe it, like when I'm walking down the street and some dude comes up to me and he's like, Jesus was the righteous path and the Muslims are evil and all this shit. I'm like, dude, I don't need to, don't preach to me. Right. So when you're preaching not even a religion, but a fucking, Hillary eats kids' dicks off type of thing to the public, I'm like, bro, you realize how fucking stupid you're going to look? So he started sending me links and videos and all this little shit. And like instantly I was able to debunk it with factual shit. And after I debunked like 4 or 5 things, he was like, fuck, I am an idiot.
Good.
Like, I look really fucking stupid right now.
You're lucky on that one. I don't have that kind of luck. I just let them kind of die off. I'm like, well,
well, I think, I just watched one of those videos that you sent me, Frank, of that dude. I can't remember his name right now. He's kind of the comedic news anchor guy, like Dan something or anyway, I can't remember his name, but you sent me, it's like a fucking long ass ramble about QAnon. And at the very end, he goes, look, if you have any loved ones that are your family or friends that have gone down this path, they're in a cult, don't give up on them, save them. That's your job, is don't let them. So it's like, a part of me feels like obligated to try to bring my friends back to reality. But at the same time, like some I try to, and it just comes off like we're just fighting about something we'll never agree on. I always just say, believe half of what you see and nothing of what you hear. Just because you go online and there's a meme that someone put that says something that's they spelled your wrong.
Yeah, dude.
You didn't
That's
even
like
notice
mom
they
shit.
spelled their or your wrong, and you're believing a meme.
Why is there always misspellings? There's always grammatical errors in like every single one of them.
Because people aren't smart. And I don't want to come off right now like anyone listening to this that is a conspiracy theorist. I don't want to act like you're dumb and I'm smart, because I'm not that smart, but I'm not that dumb. You know what I'm saying? Like,
well, the problem is too is that you got people who are willing to do this research, and they think they've done a sufficient amount of research to where they believe the shit, right?
Right.
So now they share it with other people who are dumb, and they don't even have to share. They don't even have to share the full like breadth of their research. They could just share a fucking picture and a meme, and they're like, it happened. And then all these dumbasses are like, oh my God.
You know what blows my mind? This is what blows my mind, is that all it takes is just making the lowest budget YouTube video you can make to convince anybody anything. Like, I legit used to make fake memes with fake statistics on them and put them on the internet all the time to see who would spread them around. And mad people I know would share that shit.
Wow. Yeah, I feel that people, also there's another psychological thing behind it. It's that they also feel like, okay, in a world of chaos where you have no control, it gives them a semblance of, they feel like they figured it out. They're in control because they need to be in control. It's like a human instinct to like want to control shit. And if you have control issues, and you can't accept the chaotic world that shit just happens, it gives you a little bit of like, oh, I got the truth, and you're a sheep, and I found the truth, and now I'm better than you, and that it turns into that.
Absolutely.
And that's
like
what bothers me.
It's like a secret club, right?
Right.
It's like you may be the only person, like before social media, you were like the only weird guy, right? Believing these specific things, right? But now there's like an entire online club that you can reach out, and in someone's mind who's kind of like a loner or something like that, right? In my specific case, a lot of people that I see on my social media, people I went to school with and people from my neighborhood, things like that, like that are sharing these kind of things, like they almost all of them exhibited like the same kind of like traits years ago. It was like they didn't really hang out with everybody, you know what I mean? But then like I'm no psychologist obviously, but psychologically it's almost like it's better to be in a group of people believing crazy shit than to just be alone like doing it, you know what I mean, and conforming to everyone else telling you that you're dumb. Then you're like, nope, I got all these other guys, and you know what, we're flat earthing it out with baby blood.
Yeah, no, it's true. I think it's sense of community. So they feel support from other dudes who are in their basement by themselves, who are social outcasts or pariahs or whatever. And they're just sort of like, you know, and that's okay if you're that dude. It's all good. Like everybody needs community, I think. And I think that's what they tap into is these conspiracy theory, like QAnon groups, they feed off of, just like any religion or any cult. They find people that are sort of weak and in need of something. And they need something. They need community. They need a belief system, they need a tribe, and they feed on that and pull you in, and they do, it's a trick. It's called what's it called? A psychological operation. Psyops,
yeah.
Right? That's the term. And the military uses it to recruit, and the cults use it to recruit, and the QAnon one is the scariest one. For you guys listening, look into QAnon. It's about Frank, can you explain QAnon, what it is?
I would rather say don't look into QAnon.
Oh, good idea.
You might find something you like in there.
Yeah, because the thing is that people are so fucking bored right now. And when you get, and I've gone down the rabbit hole where I'm like, wait a minute. And I'm way too smart for that shit. And then I have to like backtrack my way out of some of the shit I'm reading to understand that it's just a bunch of nonsense. But
you can convince yourself of anything if you want to, right?
Especially if you're alone in the dark at midnight on YouTube with your fucking earbuds. Like, yes.
But there's no field
we've all gone down the Bigfoot rabbit hole, or the fucking, you know, gone down a bunch of YouTube videos. Oh, there's a new UFO sighting in Peru. You know what I mean?
There's no, I've seen a UFO, just to be clear on this. It sounds fucking crazy, but I'll explain it later.
So I think we've all seen UFOs.
But what was I gonna say? But like I was saying, is you can convince yourself, you can connect dots in anything that you're seeing, right? If you want to see that it's there, like there's no possible way to deter you from thinking that this leads to this if you just go, yeah, it does. That's it. Like, it's over.
Well, that's what they do. They connect dots that you could find if you do enough math, something will line up. Like, oh, look, he said that Trump capitalized these 13 letters. And if you add up those 13 letters, what's that? Q in the alphabet or whatever the fuck it is, but anyway, to go back, QAnon, for you guys listening, if you don't know, it is a group that's supposed to be like an intel deep state military like operation of a few people that work with Donald Trump that get information from the White House and share it with people online. But then I listened to this podcast that goes into it, and this woman, I sent it to you, Frank. It was a New York Times podcast called The Rabbit Hole, and this woman goes, yeah, I was into it for 3 months. I joined it. It was a full cult, and I became a member of it. And then one day, they did a proverb from the Bible and tried to sell me a t-shirt and a mug. And she goes, oh my God, I knew right then I've been had. It was a scam. And my whole world fell apart at that moment. And at least she had the wherewithal to see that it was like, there was something behind it. I don't think most people have that. Maybe.
I am a firm believer. I'm a firm believer in everything is connected to the money that can be made on it. Yep. No matter what it is. Every decision made by every politician, every decision made by anything always leads to the individual person. What can I make from this?
Yeah, religion.
It's like a know your audience type of thing, right? That's what they were doing. They were discovering their audience, and they were preaching to, fucking middle-aged conservative Christian diehard Trump cult people, not necessarily, I don't want to say Republicans. I'm talking about Trump cult, hardcore alt-right, hate Obama.
Well, majority of them weren't even Republicans before, so.
That's what's weird about the conspiracy theorists. It's far right and far left, and even in the middle. Like, there's people I know that are not Trump people at all, that they're just kind of dreamers, and they want to believe in aliens, even if they don't, and they want to find something because they're just bored.
Yeah.
I think it's a hard reality that fucking the real world isn't as exciting as a movie, man.
Right.
Like there's no way that it possibly could be this boring that I'm just in the same loop every day, like like someone on Westworld or something. Like it's just over and over. But that's the reality of the world. Like, and even if there was something out of your hands, it's at the highest level of like people you would never interact with in your life.
Right.
Yeah, I believe that too. And it's the same as what you're just talking about, man. It's like religion is the same thing. Like they say, once a church has a library, run the other way, because that's when they're just taking your money. Like, praise God, pass the basket down the aisle, put your money in the basket. Like, that's why it always turned me off. I'm like, that's the oldest business in the world. And it's now becoming like religion. Like you said, Frank, it's becoming people's dogma. It's becoming their religion, and they take it personal. I'm losing friends to this shit, Frank. You call
let me tell you something.
All pissed off. You're like, I'm losing homies. I'm like, me too.
Bro, I went to the catacombs in Rome, right? And when you go through the catacombs, this is, mind you, the catacombs is where there's thousands of people buried underground.
That's why they used to butt fuck.
Yes, there's it's like under
totally
church, under religious ground, and skulls and bones and all shit. And when you come out of the fucking catacombs, you exit through a gift shop. Right? You can buy fake bones. You can buy books, and there's a priest in there talking to you, and all this all weird shit's going on.
But money to be made on everything, man.
Exactly.
Yo, and also that's funny. My boy went to became like a Buddhist. My boy became like a straight Buddhist, which is like, of all religions, to me, that one at least is grounded in reality. That Buddha was a man. They never said he was God. He was a human man that just found at least a belief system that worked, which is walk the righteous path and the 13 fold steps, whatever the fuck it is. I'm saying it wrong. But my boy fully went into it for years, and he went to Tibet, and he went up to like the mountains of Tibet to like go to the Buddhist temples. And he said he fucking was like, walking through one of the temples, and he like looked into like an open door, and there was just the monks in there just counting money, counting stacks of money. And he was just like, even this is
what?
Yeah.
Yeah. It hurts. Yep. That hurts.
Yeah. He's like, and my whole reality of everything I put my shit into just crumbled. And it's the same story every time. It's just about money and greed and power and taking advantage. There's a sucker born every minute.
But you got to think like, well, if I had less morals, I'd probably be on that path too. But it's like, you're not only becoming rich, but in like a lot of people's minds, it's like you're building the legacy behind you, right? Your children, you're gonna pass this money on, and like I think they're like, well, fuck it, I'll take the negative heat right now to have like my grandchildren still rich and keep passing it on. Because
Right.
like people, especially in the news cycle now, people forget shit in like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Like all you have to do is not even say anything if in your like time of crisis, and then people forgot like right after.
Fuck. All right, so let's go through a list of some of the biggest conspiracy theories and talk about them. Let's start with 9/11. Is it possible it was an inside job, or you guys just think there's terrorists and they hate America and the shit went down? What do you think?
I
Well, it's
think
definitely terrorists.
I think it was some kind of a combination, and part of the reason I believe that is because all of the trading on the markets, they shorted the shit out of the markets, like all the higher ups.
They knew.
They shorted the shit out of the markets like the day before, and they made so much money. Like nobody shorts the market like that. The way that was done, like never in history. So the way that they were not only selling but shorting, I mean, they made so much fucking money off of this tragedy. And and on top of that, you could train terrorists to fly planes all you want. You're not going to train them how to fly those big ones,
right?
And
hey, they learned it down here.
They did. That was in Florida. Yeah, you're right. But wait, real quick, Frank, real quick. The same thing happened with the COVID outbreak. Certain people in power knew how to pull their money or put their money into certain things. I feel like that doesn't necessarily mean that they made it happen. They were just privy to some information that only they knew. Like, inside word, it was going down. They made a few moves. They didn't show up to work that day. You can look that up. That's all factual. But that doesn't necessarily mean that they made it happen. They just knew. And so that's where it sort of meets the middle of the road for me.
This is, when it comes to anything, this is one of my favorite quotes from any movie, but Remo in Casino, when they're in the back room, like talking about if they need to kill all the witnesses and people connected to their crimes or whatever, right? They go down the line and they're talking about Kevin Pollak's character, and they're like, he's a stand-up guy, he's a soldier, this and that, he's great. And they get to Remo and he goes, why take a chance? Like, that's it. If there's 0.1% chance of anything, like the stock them withdrawing or making investments or whatever, like just do it. If there's any chance that you could win off of it, just do it. If there's any chance that something negative could come out of it, don't do it, right?
So that leads to Jeffrey Epstein. That one to me, like, okay, did he kill himself or was he whacked because he had a lot of information? And it's a little bit weird that he was on suicide watch and the camera went out for that amount of time. So sure, someone in power who has fucking $20 billion could easily have paid someone $1 million, go break his fucking neck. He knows too much. I'm not going to lose my family and all my riches. That one to me, I can be convinced that he was whacked. What do you think?
100%. I'm already convinced he was murdered. There's no way that several of those coincidences meet at that exact time.
Okay.
In anything.
Frank?
It's one of the most believable ones. Even though he did try to kill himself like a week before, but did he try to kill himself a week before?
Right.
And even if he did, then it's like more reason to be like, oh, well, he already tried to kill himself, so we could just kill himself for him, and make sure that it gets done. And even though I read all the shit about how that jail sucks and everybody, it's like a shithole and they don't pay attention and the cameras, whatever. But yeah, you're right. For all of those things to come together, and clearly he had dirt on a lot of people. I mean, Prince Charles, for Christ's sakes, or whatever the fuck. Was it Prince Charles?
That one dude with the shaggy haircut who
Prince Andrew.
Yeah, whatever the fuck.
Yeah, Andrew.
Now, here's another one that connects to that, is because he had been, this is where people connect too many dots and make big leaps that are assumptions that to me aren't concrete enough. Because Jeffrey Epstein was like taking a photograph with Bill Clinton 7 years ago at a party, that means that now Bill Clinton butt fucks and eats little babies from Haiti, as opposed to, he was at a party once where there was a 17-year-old girl that was barely underage. Then it becomes kids, like babies, and butt fucking bloody babies.
Well, don't get your conspiracies misconstrued here, buddy. I think that it's Bill Clinton they say Bill Clinton is this a sexual abuse person, and cheated on Hillary, and he has a history of allegations, and he has a history of flying to Epstein Island. which makes it okay for, which why Hillary wasn't mad, because she's like, well, I don't give a fuck because I'm eating kids.
Right.
Well, here's the other thing too, is that, you know, he made all of his money doing illegal business outside of fucking children, but like other financial business, right? Like, I don't know who was fucking kids out there, because you're never gonna know unless it really comes out with video or something. But billionaires all know the other billionaires. You're the smallest group in the United States, right? So he's gonna come across, like, I'm sure he has pictures with all rich people, like everyone.
Right.
But you know, certain people, it is very believable. Like, if you're gonna think Bill Clinton, you're also gonna think Trump, right? Because they both exhibit some of the same signs, just different personalities.
Right. And rich people in power hang out with rich people in power, but it doesn't mean they all eat kids.
That's what
I've been around. I'm sure Simon's been around more rich people than any of us, but you've been around, or I've been around enough rich people to know that they're almost like the poor losers, in the sense that they're like isolated from everyone else. Like, they don't go around enough people anymore. Like, and they start to lose touch. A lot of them, not all of them, obviously. But
1,000% correct. I've been exposed to some very wealthy people. They're the weird, like I always say, I would rather hang out with the dude that's parking the cars at the valet homie, the Mexican homie that's working for the party. I'd rather hang out with him than the rich weirdo who's the isolated, fucking socially inept fucking weirdo. They completely lose touch with reality. And
you definitely do.
You know what I'm saying? And I didn't mean to say the valet was Mexican, but he was, because I hung out with him at a party once with rich people. He was cool. Now, let's talk about a little bit of this one. What about COVID-19? I know people who think it's fake, that all these dead bodies, like video of dead bodies in the streets of Peru and Italy and mass graves, and I show them the picture and the video. They go, it's
even
fake.
Here?
Those are crisis actors. That's fake. We could get into Sandy Hook too. Crisis actors, and I'd show like people crying in the streets of Guatemala with like dead bodies wrapped on the street, and my boy would be like, that's fake, it's all set up. I'm like, dude.
Like, yeah, I'm sure some videos are fake. Like, there are definitely ones, or they're like 20-year-old videos or something. But I always put it to it like this. I'm like, okay, let's say that person's a crisis actor. Then we have to go through every person connected to that person and say that they're fake too, right? They got families, they got cousins, they got people they hung out with. Then you go, this person's a crisis actor, and then you just tie it to millions of people that are all in on this scam at the same time.
It's not possible. It's like, in order for three people to keep a secret,
not possible.
For three people to keep a secret, two people got to get killed. That's like the old mob thing, right?
It's not possible.
It's the same thing with chemtrails. Like, you think not one pilot is going to have been like, yo, my buddy, I seen him putting chemicals on the plane and he's flying it over. Like, I don't believe that one either. Is there chemicals that come out of airplanes?
Well, when do those kick in? Because I've been hearing about them for a long time, and they're not doing anything to me.
Right?
Yeah, when do those start affecting me? Yeah.
Yeah.
Or fluoride in the water. One of my friends is like, just keep drinking the tap water. You're becoming a sheep. Like, dude.
What if you literally became a sheep?
Amazing.
Yo, I would shave every day.
I would shave my dick and butt fuck every Clinton baby. So wait, so people really think that the Clintons are, okay, let's talk about adrenochrome. This is another one, adrenochrome. And I just love when they use the big words. They discover a big word that makes them feel smart, and they'll say a word to you that you don't know. Like, they're drinking.
But they all say the same things.
Yeah, they
always the same sentences. It's like it's like all scripted out for you.
They just
the worst part about this whole thing, the worst part is that somehow magically all of these conspiracies.
Frank breaking up?
Wait, yeah, Frank, we need start over.
Say
Frank.
it again.
Oh shit!
Say it in English.
He's getting butt fucked by a Clinton sheep.
It's all becoming the entire evil plot is unfolding, and
dude, he's getting butt fucked by a sheep.
Oh my God, they got him. He's out of here.
Wait, Frank, you're frozen.
I gotta hide my face.
Dude, Frank, the lizard people. Wait, Frank.
Yo, he got in real time.
He's frozen on the screen. Can you hear us, Frank?
All I heard was the evil plot, and then all I heard was help.
Dude,
it was Hillary.
We might have to reset. Let me text him and tell him to leave and rejoin. And you and I can keep talking about this. Okay. Okay, so let's go
Oh
into.
yeah, but as far as it goes, it's definitely scripted because you could tell they all read the same stuff.
That's what I'm saying. They regurgitate something that sounds smart to them that they think you haven't heard. And then when they say it to you, like, have you heard of adrenochrome? And you're like,
Yeah.
what's that? And then all of a sudden, like, oh, see, you don't know. It's he came back with a tinfoil hat, dude. That was amazing. Oh, did you plan that? Can we hear Frank say something?
Attention, Earthlings.
Dude, you froze right when you said like the evil something.
Yeah, man. It was. I mean, are you even Frank Stack? That's what I want to know. Have you been replaced?
I'm
Clones.
biliary.
That's another one.
I'm biliary Pinton.
Dude, all right. So talk about do you know about adrenochrome?
Yeah, but here's the thing. Here's what I was saying.
Oh, dude. Hey, conspiracy theorists listening, we're having fun with y'all. Come back to the real world.
What I was saying was that how magically they're all tying together now.
Yeah.
Right? All of them.
We're at the height. We're at the height of social media, man. For every good thing that happens that spreads online, for every person that they got their address in 2 minutes, like there's people reading this shit and like going with it.
It's the perfect storm
Bro,
right now.
And the worst part is people have been stuck in their houses for like 3-4 months.
Right.
And so they got nothing to do but to look up shit that don't exist.
Right.
Yeah, that's
And
true.
they're figuring out how it all ties together. It's all part of the plot. The like from going way back, you're talking about Epstein and the 5G and the coronavirus and all
Hillary
the shit's tying
Clinton's the
into...
biggest murderer on the planet, but somehow she can't murder Donald Trump.
Right. Well, she does got a lot. I'll give her this. She does have a lot of blood on her hands. They both did. The Clintons did, like, you know, there's a lot of. I just watched. What's his name? Oh fuck! The Jewish. I was about to say Meyer Lansky, not him.
Oh yeah, he's back.
No, the Jewish professor. Oh God, now I sound dumb and no one will believe me. I smoked too much weed in my life.
Just put a pop up with his name.
There's the professor at Arizona University. He's like the Jewish guy. He's supposed to be the smartest guy in the world. Anyway, he went through all the presidents and who killed the most. And the Clintons do got a lot of blood on their hands, which is, I think, the ammunition that gives, you know, certain people like, oh, they're baby killers and all this. And then what's what's the dude's name? The fat guy who yells and he goes on Rogan and he yells at people.
Oh,
Alex Jones.
Alex Jones. Now he's a problem because he's really spreading a lot of crazy shit, you know, to people, like about the Sandy Hook. People had to move from Sandy Hook, that school where the shooting happened that he said was fake for the NRA. And like the parents, like they didn't go through enough shit. Their kid got murdered at school. Then he like had them chased out of town because he had people going over there and filming them going, you're a crisis actor. And they're like, fuck, I'm out of here. Like, dude, it's fucking dangerous.
What's crazy about that is if my child got murdered and then you did that, I'm going to murder you.
Right? It's getting sketchy, dude.
Well, he's bad because he's the one who, and we don't know where he gets a lot of his information from, but supposedly it comes to him.
Right.
Right?
No. From here.
He's the one that started the whole Michelle Obama is a man.
Right.
He started that.
Oh, yeah.
And now a lot of people believe it. I mean, it spreads like, and especially for the people who want to believe that shit because they hate Obama. He's black.
Right.
He was our president for 8 years. He made them feel inferior. Their wife is ugly as fuck. So now
their profile
all
always
of a sudden,
says single.
She's a tranny. She's a transsexual Muslim. They spread this shit around, and it's like, bro, are you fucking kidding me? They're like, there's no record of her being pregnant and all this stupid ass shit. It's like, bro, like.
Well, you always want to believe something crazy about someone you hate, right?
Right.
Like
Exactly.
if someone I hated and they're like, yeah, yo, he's a wife beater. I'm like, yeah, man, fuck him. But it's like,
yeah.
And then you'll tell people that. You'll tell people, I heard he was a wife beater.
I think that these people live in a lot of paranoid fear, and then fear turns into hate because all hate stems from fear. That's why so many white people are racist against blacks or whatever, because they're afraid, they're scared. So it comes off like anger. That's a primal reaction. So all these people live in this paranoid world that everything's, you know, coming to get them and that this and that and watch this is going to happen, that they're actually living scared, that I actually feel sorry for them because they're just living in this delusional psychotic state that's not fucking healthy and spreading the fear. And it's just getting so out of control. There's actually people in QAnon who are voted into office in Oregon. There's like someone that works in like
that's terrible.
Is a QAnon member. So it's starting to bleed into like real politics. It's fucking crazy, dude.
Well, the thing too, though, like with the politics and like how not only QAnon, but even like Trump tries to continue to push this agenda of dividing people. If you think about it, like, let's just pretend that you were not a socially aware white person. Let's pretend that you didn't have anything to do with any black culture. You didn't grow up with black people. You didn't like black people. You were just like a white guy who thinks that white is superior. Then all of a sudden, your fucking president is black for 8 years, making you feel so inferior.
Well, you would hope it would be like, wow, maybe I was wrong, but it's never that.
No, so that's the thing, is that's why they keep pushing this anti-Obama thing 4 years after he's out of office, because it feeds into that fear of the Trump, the hardcore Trump supporters. And they're like, that's right, fuck Obama. He fucking fuck like, he's a Muslim, he's a terrorist, he's from Kenya, his wife's got a dick. You know, they feed off of that shit. And
I've been
no proof.
No, nothing needs proof. Facts don't matter anymore. It doesn't matter. If you want to believe it, it's there. I've been traveling a lot, and every time I hit a big city, I try to go to like the little towns around it just to see what it's like out there. And I gotta say, man, some of these places they're gone. Like it might as well be like 1985 in some of these places.
1955,
it's like,
bro.
Oh man, it's wild. Some of these places. I went like South Carolina, some little towns there. Like, of course, they got like Charleston, things like that. But like I'm talking about like smaller towns in Florida. There's a ton of them, right?
Oh, yeah.
But you go there and you're just like, it's almost like Napoleon Dynamite, but like with the actual racism and shit. Like they're just stuck in a time warp. They have like like a Payless store, like the first ones that open with like the brown and orange. Like shit is nuts. Like how like old everything is. They have all the restaurants that died out everywhere else.
Right. Yeah, we're the weirdos. We're the weirdos that live on the coast, that are the coastal elites that think we're better than everyone to them, that are dressing weird, like fucking, we're the weirdos, right? To most of the middle of the country. And, they're the salt of the earth. A lot of those are good people. They just have a different belief system than we do. And a lot of times you could go to some little podunk town like that, meet some redneck with a Confederate flag or some fucking homie from the hood. And believe it or not, you might have the best fucking talk with, if you didn't bring up politics or conspiracy theory or religion, you might have a good old time with that motherfucker as long as you leave that shit off the table. There's like good people. They're just like everyone's got a belief system. And now for the first time, the belief systems are getting really personal and people are fucking, dude, some of these conspiracy theorists, did you hear about the one dude who like tried to ride a train in LA into like the marina and they stopped it and he was like spun out of control about QAnon or something? And then there was another one where this guy went to a dam and he was trying to shut the dam down and he had a gun or something and he was spun out of control. Like people are starting to get fucking kind of crazy with it.
Just to go back to what I was saying, to be clear, just so I can clarify that, I'm not shitting on small towns.
No, I'm not.
Like, no. I'm just saying, like, you can see why, like, some people can get caught up in things because it's almost like those jokes about like how like my family's from Colombia, right, South America, and it's like you can almost see like in Colombia, hey man, they just got PlayStation 2. It's kind of like that type of shit, right? It's like they're just behind in a lot of things, and like it doesn't.
You can't force them. You can't force them to be progressive at all. You can't force them to be not the way that they are. Eventually, in 100 years, I think a lot of that shit will die off.
Right.
Because the reality is, a racist has to marry and procreate with a racist to create another racist.
That's true.
And
they butt fuck sometimes.
And it's their cousins already, so they're like running out of people.
Yeah, the mutations are gonna take effect. About 15 years ago, we were on tour, and we were in a tour bus, and the whole tour bus was painted with blood and black rappers. And we went cross country, and I'm the only white dude. And we drove from fucking LA to Atlanta, and we made the mistake of, I believe it was in Texas, pulling into a gas station where there was a Christian biker gang.
Oh,
a Christian biker gang. They were called like the Holy Saints of fucking, I don't even fucking know, but they had like guns on their bikes and everything, and they were all white, and they followed us for 50 fucking miles, like taunting us, and to the point where I had to make sure that I'm driving and all the black dudes were hiding in the back, because there was like 40 of these motherfuckers, and they followed us through at least an hour. And it was fucking scary, bro. Like, and these are like just white Christian motherfuckers that are just like, what are these black people doing in my party? We didn't know where the hell we were.
Coming here with their blood and their rap.
Yeah, it was like, what the fuck are we doing out here? But you know, and then we got to Tennessee, and we saw some of that same shit, and we finally ended up in Atlanta, and then it was like, for me, it was backwards because now it was me around only black people. I was the only white person to all these events we went to in Atlanta, and to the point where people were coming up to the dudes I was with like, why you got this white guy with you? Like,
Right.
white people aren't allowed here.
That's,
Right.
I mean, that's the flip of it too, is like you go, I mean, I grew up with like mostly Puerto Ricans, right? And mostly New Yorkers too, but it's like a lot of dudes and a lot of black dudes too, is like they come from neighborhoods like, which, I mean, you can trace back to racism, of course, it's like neighborhoods of only one kind of person. And like, they'd never seen white people, like only on TV and shit, which is nuts, but it's like this, it's just the reverse of the same mindset.
Well, you know, it's reversed too. I would feel more comfortable in a room full of 25 gangbangers from the hood than I would in a room full of 25 redneck ass, like backcountry motherfuckers. I'd feel way more nervous around that for some reason.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'm from the actual South and 100% on that one.
Right?
Like, yeah.
I don't know. That's just crazy.
And they all like listen to 3 6 Mafia and shit. Like,
Right.
like they always got like trucks that bang out like hip hop.
Yeah, it's a total contradiction. Okay, 5G, guys. Now this one bothers me because every time there's a new G that comes out, the conspiracy theorists think that this one's going to brainwash you and make you
Yeah.
alien that butt fucks your mom. This one, 4G, same thing. Oh my God, it's going to microwave your brain. Oh, they're going to trying to control us. 3G, they said the same thing. Now 5G. Here's the argument with 5G. It's not that it's going to fry your brain on a microwave level like they think. My argument to the 5G one, the only argument is this, is that now the technology is going to be so integrated that like if you walk into a McDonald's, it will know by your phone what you want to order, right? And it'll know where, and it'll be like, are you ready for your Uber? Like everything's going to be connected so much that you're just going to kind of give up your autonomy, which is a moral question. But as far as like, that's a choice you have. You could either decide to do that or not. But when it comes to 5G towers frying people's brains and people are going burning them down, dude, what do you guys think of that one?
Frank, you want to go first?
Yeah. So first of all, there's this thing that people need to look up. It's called science.
Right.
Yeah.
And
they're not going to look it up.
Right.
Microwave frequencies and what they mean. And if they actually do that without just looking at memes that people share, they'll realize that there's nothing to worry about. And secondly, I got a couple of those little plug-in routers in my house because we got just horrible fucking internet over here, and they're 5G.
No way.
I've had them for 5 fucking years, and I'm healthy as shit. And everybody in my house, nobody gets sick. So how the fuck can I have inside of a building,
right,
a bunch of 5G waves going on? We got fucking 3 laptops, 3 TVs. 2 Xboxes, fucking phones, everything's Wi-Fi is fucking flying all over the place. But we're
you know
fine.
how much radiation comes from the sun?
Dude, our bodies emit radiation. Like that's people don't understand these things.
Well, it was the same thing when the microwave first. Remember that show Mythbusters? You guys ever see Mythbusters?
Yeah, oh yeah, of course.
Okay, I love that show because it's science, and they actually said, okay, there was like a one about the airplanes being on your phone on the airplane. Remember when turn your phone off, it transmits the signals and it generates signals, so the plane's gonna crash. They put a cell phone in every single chair on an airplane and called each phone so it was operating, and it caused 0.000001 frequency level. Everyone on their phone at once, right? Then they also did the microwave one where you could put your face in front of a microwave on high for 20 minutes. And the amount of shit that will happen to you from a microwave with your face in front of it for 20 minutes is absolutely harmless. It doesn't do anything to you. It's all bullshit. There's like,
well, your cell phone was supposed to give you cancer from being in your pocket, all this shit.
Right. So 5G, we debunked that one as well through science, correct?
Yeah, that one's,
yeah.
I think they gave up on that one. I think all those
I think so too.
I think they gave it up.
What about the moon landing, fake or real?
I gotta go with real. I gotta go with real on that one.
I go with real.
I actually don't believe in the moon landing.
Really? Tell me.
Oh,
okay.
I believe that there may have been a moon landing, but what we see the moon landing as is not what it was, right? So we were in competition with Russia,
right?
to get to the moon first. For whatever stupid fucking reason, we don't win a prize.
Oh, the Russians got him.
Illuminati got him. Illuminati got him.
Dude, he keeps freezing
Damn
right.
it, Frank.
Look at, he looks like
Enough.
he looks like he's about to suck the moon's dick.
Frank, what are you doing, man? He does have terrible internet, turns out.
Yeah, it's 5G. So if anything, I've learned that 5G doesn't kill you; it just sucks.
Yeah.
Hang on, Frankie froze. Wait, so the moon landing. He thinks here's my moon landing one madness. I don't know. You could actually see footage of like when the vessel comes back into orbit with the astronauts and like lands in the water and they pull them out. So you think they went to the extent of like launching something into space and then just letting it fall back in the water?
Yeah.
Trick you? You really like? I don't know. Like that one.
Well, how about this one? I get to see all the launches from here.
Right.
Like they're real. They're very real.
Right.
Like that shit is right there. Like they launch them an hour from my house. Like it's, you see it, you hear it, everything. I mean, it shakes your house, everything. Like it's right there. Like the amount of millions of dollars to waste to just like convince people like that this happened. Like what a worthless like trick to use. But my thing is, here's where they go. Like a lot of the arguments are like, how did they do it with the technology they had and all these things, like, you know, and whenever, and it, like, we didn't have computers up to the speed that they are now. And I'm like, how did they build the pyramids, man? Like they didn't have, like, you work with what you have, like at that time, that is the highest version of technology that you have, right? And you make it happen. Like, think about CG in like old movies that you're like, at the time, you're like, yo, they killed it. This looks so real. And then you look back and you're like, yikes. But at the time, right, it's the highest level of something, and they utilized it to its fullest extent. And I think that's the same case with going to the moon, pyramids, etc.
Right. Yeah. Industrial Revolution. They got a lot of shit going on during that era. And also like post like World War II, we took the Nazis, like the smartest motherfuckers. Not Germans make the best cars. German and Japanese make like the best cars and the best technology. We took the Nazi like brain of those like for NASA. So I believe all that shit. That moon landing's real. Frank, explain. You froze. Why?
Yeah, I want to hear what Frank has to say. Does he think Kubrick directed it? Because
hopefully they don't catch me freezing again.
Did you think Kubrick filmed it?
I mean, it was a pretty shitty filming job, to be honest.
Well, it has to seem real, right?
And, you know, I've seen, if you look at all the old videos from back then, it's pretty fucking bad. Like, you can see motherfuckers falling over and, like, bouncing back up like they're on a string. And you could even see the strings and shit. Like, when you look at all
what do you know about space?
Strings in space. But
that's like one of those things. It's like we've never been there before. Like you think it's one thing until you get there.
Right.
But how come Russia never made it, right? And our technology obviously is probably always been more advanced than theirs. But you know what else was more advanced than theirs was we had fucking Hollywood. And if we wanted to, we could have just filmed that shit and pretended the whole time. So why didn't we?
Okay. I mean, it's true. It's a valid argument. I always thought. But
I just don't care enough about that one anyway. What about?
But now we can't go. Now we can't make it to the moon. Now it's impossible to go to the moon, right? There's fucking shit in the way. Like, come on.
Right. All right. What about? Okay, can we talk about Pizzagate?
Oh man. To think that there is people on the highest level of government that just like rape and eat kids at an astonishing rate is. Like, you'd have to think that, like, imagine I'm the guy. I hope somebody doesn't just cut this that goes, I'm the guy that rapes kids. Don't cut it that way. But it's like, imagine, like, you're that guy, right? And then you have to convince everyone around you on first conversation that this is cool. Like, because immediately when you tell someone, like, yeah, we're going to rape kids and pass them around, they have to be down. Because if they're not, you're reported to the police immediately. So you'd have to convince everyone around you the first time you brought it up that like, this is what we're doing and everyone here is going to be down with it. Like there's no fucking possible way.
Thank you. Very pragmatic. Frank, what do you think about Pizzagate?
Well, and you got all these fucking conspiracy guys online that are super sleuth Sherlock Holmes that cracked the code, right? You think the fucking FBI didn't crack the code?
Right.
You think that the
people doing actual
you think that the real fucking people who have like that, the ones who could actually hack into anything on Earth, because that's their fucking job, that they haven't cracked the code. And don't get me wrong,
Frank,
a lot of kids
did they make YouTube videos?
Yeah, because they made a fucking YouTube video and they cracked the code. It's like, dude, look, if that shit is true, which to an extent, there obviously is children that go missing. There's always been some kind of sick people who do this type of shit that get, and when they get caught, so that means there's people that don't get caught.
Oh yeah.
But to put those two things together and then say it's Hillary and Obama that are the ringleaders with Oprah and Ellen, like you're
Tom
fucking
Hanks too. Tom Hanks is butt fucking kids.
Tom Hanks
too. No, not Tom Hanks.
Yeah,
on, man.
And he got COVID. But
I will say this: what you're saying, Frank. Let me clarify what I was saying too. Is that like, yes, I believe there are pedophile rings, 100%.
100%.
And I do believe that there are powerful people involved in pedophile rings, right?
Sure.
There's got to be, because there's just sick people involved with every facet of life. But that, to the specifics that they're trying to tie it to all these people connected to it, is just fucking ridiculous.
Thank you. That's the thing, and it happens to only be Democrats that are butt fucking.
Yeah, it's like, come on.
Look, look, and there was, look, of course of course there's sick fucks out there who have pedophile rings. That's happened throughout history. That's nothing new. You're not telling us anything new. All you're doing is just taking shit and putting it together. That's obviously been a right-wing agenda to make, to demonize one side, and everyone falls for the old divide and conquer, pick a side, and it's actually become like a Democrat versus Republican thing. It's like, no, there's sick fucks on each side of the fucking
right, exactly.
and Republic. They're everywhere. They're fucking all sick fucks.
I mean, you just have to look at arrest records. There's plenty of, on both sides, arrested like for these kind of things.
And for the record, any child pedophile, I hope they go to jail and they just get eternally butt fucked by every big gang member in prison forever and get their face put in the toilet. We're not like, those are the worst humans on the planet. Fucking kill them after you butt fuck them. For 2 hours. Kill them.
Kill them. Kill them after you do it.
Yeah, but you can't just label somebody that and say, and a lot of this is, what's the fat dude's name? Charles Grodin. What's the fat guy's name we were talking about? David Banner. What's the
Alex Jones?
Guy? Yeah, Alex Jones. He's spreading a lot of this regalia.
Oh yeah, but how much money is he making off of it? Because I know it's a lot.
A shit ton of money. Yo, I got friends who show me videos of like edited things that like are manipulated to show how bad someone is, and they're wearing like the shirts that he sells. I'm like, yo, you completely fell hook, line, and sinker for this dude's shit. I thought you were, and they're not. I thought they were smart people, because they actually are. But I think there's something, and it, again, like I'm not making fun of you if you're listening to this, but I feel like there's a degree of some type of mental illness and or a learning disability that's applied to this, where they take advantage of somebody that has a tiny bit of something's a little bit off, and they can pull that out of them and somehow trick them. And so I actually feel bad for them, dude. It's not even their fault. I feel like they got got, dude. They don't know what they don't know, There's
definitely mental illness tied to a lot of it, but I wouldn't say everyone who believes it has mental illness, but definitely people that believe it do have mental illness. There's a lot of those people. Like, there's some people that I knew that they fell off a while ago because they had, kind of psychological breaks, and then now they're back and they believe all this shit, which, I mean, it goes hand in hand. But I think, and we talked about this too, is like, there's this inherent need to know something that someone else doesn't.
Right.
And if, like, on the tier of people, like, if you're already down here and everyone else is here, if you know something they don't, in your mind, you're back up here. You're like, man, I could school them on these things, because, dumb people don't know that they're dumb. If they did, they wouldn't be dumb, right? So not that all of them are dumb, but there are a lot of dumb people.
The thing that makes it even less believable is what they're doing is they're saying that the 5G towers were, okay, so they faked this virus. They faked this coronavirus so that they could put up more 5G towers, so they can make more people feel sick, so they can find an excuse to keep more people locked in the house, so that they can go out and uncover these pedophile rings. And now they're saying that these fucking earthquakes, there was an earthquake in LA the other day, it was actually the military blowing up the child pedophile tunnels.
They didn't
underground.
say that.
Whoa.
They didn't say that.
Yes. They're saying, there was an earthquake in Yellowstone Park. There was an earthquake in LA. These are bombs going off underground because they're blowing up these pedophile. I'm telling you, bro, they're trying to connect all these dots into one thing, and that's what makes it even less.
Dude. It's like, yo, we're getting all these crazy storms here because we're getting the outer bands of a hurricane. But I got to tell you, man, it's really just HARP getting rid of pedophiles with lightning.
I'm telling you.
Fuck, man. I feel like we need to do this regularly. Maybe like me and you, both you guys need to do part 2 because we kind of just scratching the surface. I want to reiterate, if anybody listening, I'm not trying to make fun of you guys if this is your belief system. I want to try to reach out and be like, guys, we need to bring you back to earth because here's and this is going to sound like a conspiracy theory in itself. This sounds crazy, but I don't give a fuck. The Russians have been known to have the bots to propaganda America with like mass, tweets and social media things to divide us. That's been proven. You could actually trace the bots to Russia, to Georgia, and to Iran because they figure, we can't land in America with machine guns and parachutes. Why don't we infiltrate them from the inside and divide them and let them go nuts on each other? So they proved that back in the 80s, the Russians did create the rumor that AIDS was created in a lab to kill African Americans by the white American, which was a total rumor, right? Then now I think the same thing is happening where the Russians are, over fucking saturating the internet with all this shit to make us go crazy on each other, including a lot of the things that we talked about. Does that sound too far-fetched to you?
No, their psychological warfare is the upper echelon of psychological warfare.
Thank you.
Like, I mean, it's not unbelievable because that's something you would actually do as a nation at war with another nation, right?
Right.
Why even use the physical manpower if you know that there's so many uneducated people that would fall for these certain things? Like, and it's not a conspiracy if our defense has already proved that they have infiltrated all these modes of social media. So
it's brilliant. It's actually fucking brilliant on their part.
They won, man. They won.
Hats off.
Honestly.
Hats off. Hats off, Russia.
Well, they proved it. I mean, it was already proven before.
Right.
With
It's not a conspiracy. Like, it's definitely like it's genius, honestly.
All right, boys. Well, I don't know if we convinced anybody to come back from the dark side, but I just like talking about it with like-minded people because sometimes I feel like me and my girlfriend are just sitting here spinning out of control going, are we the only fucking ones left who have some semblance of reality?
It's tough, man. It's tough.
It's tough. So I'm glad you guys are on the same page as me. Well,
let me reiterate, too. I am trying to make fun of them.
Okay. That's your job. You're good at that.
I'm in the middle, man. I'm trying to save people, but I'm also letting people die on the side of the road. So I'm like right there.
Right. So if
it depends on how lost you are.
If anybody wants to debate you guys, what's your Instagram and Twitter, Frank?
Just Frank Stacks, spelled properly. No misspellings.
And Madness, what's your handles?
Instagram is @TonyMadness. Twitter is @Mr. Madness. MrMadness.
His love handles.
Yeah, I got a lot of that.
You guys are the best. Thanks for doing this with me. And we're gonna do this again. We got more shit to talk about. I just don't, I don't want to go on all day. So let's just wrap it up here. And anybody listening, suck your own dick.